You seem to keep forgetting that.
In effect, you illegally entered a country, inserting yourself in the middle of an incredibly heated geopolitical situation.
Hold on a second.
Siding with a nation, Jarhanpur, which historically has not been a friend to the US, against a nation that's technically our ally, and then threatened to murder their head of state.
First of all, whether or not Jarhanpur is an imperfect country does not give another nation the right to invade it.
Yes, but the Moravian government maintains they're freeing the Jarhanpurians from a tyrannical regime.
Yes, but you know that's very silly.
I do?
The Moravian government, of all people, is saying this? Come on.
This is on the record, Superman.
Now you're being dishonest, Lois.
How am I being dishonest? What are you...
Where's the button?
Stop, it's...
You're
what?
being dishonest because you know as well as I do that the Moravian government is not well-intentioned.
I think that's almost certainly the case, but do I know that? No, I Can we go on now?
Yeah, fine. I don't...
You think this is going well?
Do I think this is going well? I think I'm doing a good job.
Superman, did you consult with the president before entering Moravian airspace?
No.
The Secretary of Defense?
Nope.
Or any U.S. official before you took matters into your own hands and decided unilaterally how to handle this extremely delicate situation?
and his goons were going to kill people.
Yes, but the results of you seemingly acting as a representative of the United States will cause more problems around the world. More than a war that lasted between 12 and 24 hours and was just replacing one tyrannical regime with another.
Is that really how you feel?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman, but I question it. Yeah, I would question myself in the same situation and hold off a beat and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
Hey, panelists, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
I'm Robert.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Adam.
Yes, he is. All right, guys. How's everybody doing? Hey, before we start the show, I just want to congratulate Adams for having his short film, The Raven, nominated.
Yes.
You were nominated 4 times, weren't you? Or something?
Yeah, we didn't win, but the nomination was good, and the festival itself was really awesome. It was like Best Art House Short Film, Original Score, Committee's Choice, and Spirit Award. So it was it's a really great film festival. If anyone wants to go outside of the tri-state, it's called the Newark Independent Film Festival out in Delaware. Really awesome festival. But thanks. It was good times.
Nice. And
awesome.
they didn't give you not one. Who are their names? We'll go out there. We'll kick their ass.
Yeah.
All right. So today we are putting Superman under the lens, guys. 3 major films, 3 very different takes, from the nostalgic magic of Christopher Reeve's 1978 classic through Zack Snyder's gritty Man of Steel to James Gunn's hopeful 2025 reboot. So we'll compare the character portrayals, visual style, soundtracks, box office, fan reactions, and maybe pick up a winner. So you guys ready?
Ready?
Sure. Yeah.
Alrighty then. So we're gonna start with Superman 1978, and just kind of a quick thing on that. So that was a landmark film in both superhero cinema and blockbuster filmmaking. So before Superman, the idea of serious big budget superhero movies was almost laughable in Hollywood. Comic book adaptations were seen as cheap Saturday matinee materials, not tentpole blockbusters. But Richard Donner, Superman, with Richard Donner's Superman, he changed all of that, proving a superhero film could be treated with the same weight as an epic movie. Still, the road where it was, that road was disastrous for Superman. But we'll start very quickly. The film ballooned to nearly $55 million. Now, for those of you out there that say $55 million, are you kidding me? I mean,
these are $1978.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So nowadays, like the MCU just sneezes $55 million just to try to get get one.
That's Madam Web.
Yeah, one actor, to get on the. It's like, hey, Robert Downey Jr., we give you $55 million. He goes, no, I need $100. And so yeah, it was a staggering figure in the late 70s. So making it one of the most expensive films ever made at the time. So for adjusted dollars, um, global box office is 300. No, actually, unadjusted dollars, it made $300 million. For adjusted dollars for today, that's $589 million, which is crazy. Um, so it was originally supposed to cost way less, but because of the rewrites, casting debates, and of course the fact that they try to, film Superman 1 and 2 together, that also made this entire thing, the entire film production with a lot of turmoil and stuff like that. So what do you guys think of Superman 1 before we even get into the other ones, when it comes to that?
I'll go first.
Yeah, you could go first. Awkward fucking, awkward
Exactly
silence
right.
there.
I want to, like, the silence was just killing me.
Yeah, you guys could just, all talk at the same time.
So this is a movie that I actually saw in a theater, and I was really excited about it at the time. Of course, I'm a huge Superman fan in that I love DC to read the comic books because my cousin would always be giving me like his extras. She's like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to read that no more. So I always got a bunch of DC comics from him because that's him.
Right.
But I'm more Marvel. You know what I mean? Like, but either way, I was like, you know what? It's a movie about a superhero, which up until that point, the only thing that you got for superheroes was crappy TV movies that looked nothing like the heroes that they were supposed to be, or a TV show like Challenge of the Super Friends and stuff like that, where
Oh my God, yeah.
That's going
live
way
action, but it's the most inept shit live action that you've ever seen, and you could go on YouTube and find that stuff online now. It's so hokey.
Oh my God. It's great to get drunk and watch it.
Right.
Because you laugh your ass off.
Yeah.
This was like, dude, Christopher Reeve playing the part that he, like, you literally look at it and you're like, damn, man, he was born to play this part. And like, it's all believable, especially at that time. It was like the best special effects that you'd possibly get. It's got a good story. And I was thinking about it the other day because I was thinking about, the whole going around the world. And then I realized, you know what? We're kind of looking at it wrong. He's not making the Earth turn. He's going so fast that he's going back in time. And what we're seeing is the visual representation of him going back in time. Just like the Flash, when he goes super fast and he can go back in time, that's what he was doing.
Did you verify that with Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I didn't verify with Neil deGrasse. He wasn't available. I tried.
I got his number on my phone, so if
but
you,
no,
we can get him.
No,
on
but that's the thing.
We could get him on the line now. No, he'll kill me.
The bat phone.
But it's great. It was the only serious superhero movie that you had at the time that worked, that was just awesome. It was great. It deserves every bit of money that it's made.
Absolutely right. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was like my first introduction to Superman, and it was like, it felt like it was out of the comics. It was a nice balance between a comic book movie, but made for like a modern, well, at that time, a modern audience. And honestly, the fact that it dealt with even time travel that early, like that was like mind-boggling to me. Like, obviously now that's all these comic book movies are doing now, but it's just so funny how a movie back then, when spoiler alert, when Lois dies, you're looking at that, and at that time you're like, wait a minute, like what is he gonna do? Because there was no, it's not like you saw other movies that did time traveling. So you really didn't know what was gonna happen next. And then when he does that, you're like, oh, you just opened up a can of worms that everyone's gonna start using later on down the line. Um, but even just from like a production standpoint, like it was just like how much stuff was like actually filmed like on screen. Obviously there's like, like the backdrop replacements and all that stuff, but like the sets, the costume design, I don't know, it was just it's I don't think any, I mean, I know we're gonna get into the other Superman movies, but I don't think any movie has come as close to that version of Superman. There's like parts of other movies that kind of like get close to it, but
Right.
it's there's a reason why it still stands as probably one of the best Superman movies. And a lot of it I feel like does have to do with Christopher Reeves, like the way he played the role. I think that was without a strong actor playing Superman, it could change the whole dynamic. Outside of like the story and all that stuff, but
Right.
it's almost like trying to choose like a James Bond or something. Like
Yeah,
not
exactly.
everyone can fit a Superman character. And it's funny, I forget some of the names that they were actually considering. There was like some pretty big actors they were considering for it, and at that time Christopher Reeves was an unknown. So the fact that
Yeah.
like him as an unknown pretty much became almost like the benchmark for all the other Superman characters. There was, yeah, that's like perfect worlds like colliding right there.
Yeah, it's crazy because they were considering Robert Redford, Paul Newman, Clint Eastwood, James Caan, and even Muhammad Ali. They considered, which is interesting that they were considering a black man to play Superman way back then, and nowadays that's such a big controversy about trying to hire a black
And Rob,
man.
a really quick note.
Yeah,
In today's dollars, worldwide, that movie would have grossed 1.49 billion.
and I thought the
Like worldwide. I'm talking about
worldwide.
Worldwide,
Okay,
okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Domestically, 666 million, and
that's right.
internationally, 821 million.
You and I have our different numbers because mine came up with 589 in adjusted dollars today, but I could be
Well,
wrong.
Y'all look close enough.
Well, here's the thing. There's like standard inflation, but then there's also ticket price inflation.
Right.
So the
Oh, okay.
ticket price inflation is what, the cost of a movie ticket. I mean, I don't even know how much the cost of a movie ticket was in 1978. I think that is way lower than like
Correct.
standard inflation, especially like when you compare it today.
Is
I mean, obviously
there-
this is all ChatGPT numbers, but
Yeah.
you know,
Funny because your ChatGPT said something different than my ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They're not in sync.
my
Chat
prompt,
GPT fight.
my prompt was box office ticket inflation,
Oh, okay.
not just regular money inflation. Because again, ticket prices. I mean, let's see, what was the cost of a ticket price?
Oh my
What
goodness.
was
$2.34.
I think you might be right. It was, yeah, $2.34. And then what's the average ticket price today? $15 to $25.
Pretty much.
Jesus.
It's a house.
Depends on if you had to go see it IMAX or Dolby Digital or Dolby Atmos in an AMC.
Yeah.
You're like,
But-
before you go into the theater, do you agree to give your firstborn child?
Exactly.
Okay, good.
The
Funny
deed to
enough,
your
so
house.
so approximate tickets sold by Superman's 1979 was $37.1 million in tickets in the US and Canada alone. So that's crazy.
Yeah. And
That
you
is-
got to think of like how the marketing back then is not the marketing that you have now. So for it
Correct.
to reach that
Right.
big of an audience with none of the marketing that people have available now, that's very impressive.
Well, they had marketing, but not like today. Not the way you do things today, where you take like half of Times Square and half all the billboards are exactly the movie that you're advertising. I mean, just that alone in New York City Times Square alone is just an astronomical amount of money
Right.
just to advertise there. And then you could imagine, worldwide, television appearances, all these things are just insane nowadays compared to what it was back then, of course. So it's really crazy. Um, how about you, Mark? I mean, what did you think of Superman when it first came out? And
Well,
you
yeah.
definitely being a big comic book person.
Well, yeah. Well, back then I was 5, but I
Oh,
still saw it in the theater with my family and
okay.
everything. Like Frank at that time. My favorite thing to like ponder through with the comics was Marvel for the most part, but reflecting it, you had the shock and awe of the film, and it had a story that you could follow, and it was very similar to the comics, and it was done very well for its time. But reflecting back, like when we compared the Donner versus Lester cut before, uh, reflecting back at it now, is this a great movie in comparison to when it came out? Probably not as good, but it still holds fact that it was the first and was very bright. That's what I remembered as a kid
Really?
when
I
I
didn't
see.
see it very bright. I never saw
But
it.
the colors, I'm talking about how striking his costume
Right,
is.
his costume, New York still looked like crap the way it did back in
Oh
the
yeah,
70s.
yeah, yeah,
I would know since I lived during that time. And I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, that's New York City, all right.
Well,
You know?
Sure.
they would have to blur out all the
I'm sorry, it's
billboards.
Metropolis. All right,
Oh,
so
yes,
there.
yes, I'm sorry. Yes, you're
Yes,
right.
we all know Metropolis was fucked up back in the day.
You had all the nudie billboards up there too that they had to blur out too at the
I'm sure.
time. Then Koch had taken them all down.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw this movie, Frank, you touched on something that was very interesting, which you said back then movies were, or at least superheroes were just depicted in a very hokey,
Oh yeah.
kind of way. So the perfect example of that was the Batman and Robin show.
66.
Yeah, the Batman 66.
Oh yes, yeah.
Which was very campy, and I think that's one of the reasons why this movie made such a big difference
Yeah.
because they kind of said, "Hey, we don't have to make it look." And don't get me wrong, I think from what I was reading, the executives wanted to make this campy, but
Exactly, right.
Richard Donner did not want to go through that. So which was really nuts. They still wanted to go through kind of that one thing. But no, I found it to be refreshing. Superman was never my favorite superhero.
Right.
But it was a superhero. It was better than whatever was in the theater. So I said, all right, I want to go watch it. It looks like it's fun, and it was fun at the time. When I see it nowadays, I could see all its flaws.
Okay.
And as you guys know, I'm not a very nostalgic person, so I don't go like, oh, I watch it and it brings me back to my youth. No, it doesn't. I see it with fresh eyes and I go, this is a man in his underwear flying around. And
Now you sound like Frank and I when we were talking about Megaforce the other day.
it's exactly it. Like Megaforce, I saw Megaforce. I mean, I barely remember it, but I thought it was a great movie when it first came out, right? Because I was young and stupid. I didn't know any better.
Exactly
Now,
right. It's
I think
the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, and then I think I saw not a long time ago. I saw like a clip of it, and I went, "I can't believe I thought this was good."
Exactly.
That kind of stuff. So don't get me wrong. I think Christopher Reeve as Superman was an incredibly smart thing to do because he was an unknown at the time. And because he was an unknown, what they did was they brought in, of course, Marlon Brando, and they brought in Gene Hackman in order to validate the movie. And dude, they paid Marlon Brando $3.7 million plus a percentage of the profits.
Yeah.
So this man made bank on only 12 days of work. So that's crazy.
Nice work when you can get it.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
Yeah.
But and it was, and kind of like one of the things that made this production so hectic and so with a lot of turmoil is that even though Richard Donner made an incredible movie and it made money, they still fired him. And not only that, but then the person that they bought in took out all the Marlon Brando stuff, because if not, they have to pay Marlon Brando also a take of that. And Superman 2 was also a great success. So it was kind of like there was a lot of like backhanded stuff happening in the background. But as I said, I think Christopher Reeve was like the perfect manifestation of Superman. When you read the comic books and the thing is that I always found that Superman was a character of its era, right? Very farm boy, very very goody two shoes. I do good because of the sake of good, and things like that. And can that be portrayed nowadays? I think it can. It just has to be portrayed the right way, I think. If it's done the wrong way, it still looks dated. At least that's my opinion on that. But yeah, Superman, I mean, the first Superman really opened, and also Superman opened the doors for other superhero movies. I mean, that's when
without Superman, you get nothing else.
No,
it takes it seriously, and that specifically is the reason why. Because yes, they of course they wanted to go the Batman route with it. You know what I mean? That's what people are used to. That's what works.
Correct.
But it takes itself seriously, and then every movie after that has to tip its hat to Superman, because if he hadn't have done it and been successful, then you'd never hear about superhero movies again, because they're not making money,
or at least not for a long time.
For a very long time, yeah.
Because let's be honest, the Schumacher Batman movies really put a damper on superhero movies until Nolan came around and say, okay, let me show you what I can do. So yeah, I think it would have taken a longer time to do that. But no, you're right. And as a matter of fact, Superman is what paved the way for Batman, the Batman movie, because those guys saw, wait a minute, if we do Batman, it doesn't have to be taken. It could be taken serious, not campy like the TV show, which is what everybody thought.
Yeah.
So, and then of course bringing Michael Keaton in and stuff like that, and of course that's a whole other podcast. But
yeah,
it did pave the way for that, and then it paved the way for other things. And Schumacher, screwed it up, and then Nolan had to.
Schumacher.
I know he gets a lot of shit.
He gets a lot of shit, but some of it he deserves.
But then Nolan picked up the ball and just kind of ran with it, man. And then from there on, man, it just kind of grew and kind of got out of hand.
On the Marvel side, you gotta give it to Blade, because if
Blade is the one that
wasn't successful,
exactly,
nothing after that.
So, but yeah, that's my take on Superman. I mean, I saw it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great depiction of a character on a comic book that I was like, oh, okay, this works, and I could believe it. And like you were saying, the special effects at that time, I mean, and let me tell you, those were special effects that were groundbreaking, because they have never made special effects like that. It helped, and man, did it. I mean, that thing was crazy. Everybody loved that movie. I could still remember the hype of it and all that stuff. So it was really cool. But then that brings us to, and of course there was Superman 2 and then Superman 3, 4, 5.
Diminishing returns.
Yeah, exactly. And from there we got TV series from there. We got Smallville, we got
Lois and Clark.
Lois and Clark.
The animated series.
Yep.
Did a fantastic job on that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we got Man of Steel. So Man of Steel, basically done by Zack Snyder. So it's produced by Warner Brothers. Christopher Nolan as a producer. And
wait, aren't we skipping something?
Oh, we don't want to talk about Returns.
Skipping Superman Returns.
Superman Returns is actually very very controversial, and I say this because Superman Returns is supposed to be a reboot, but at the same time, it was a sequel to Superman 3.
Yes.
So
2, actually.
2.
I'm sorry. 2.
Yeah.
2.
It's
Superman
the third.
2. It's the third. Correct.
2,
Right. So it's the third. They kind of retcon the other ones. And so you know what? I think Brandon Routh,
Oh,
He I think he depicted Christopher Reeve perfectly.
Yes.
yeah, he did a really good job.
They did a phenomenal job trying to find a actor that looks exactly like
Yeah.
there's a part in there where like he opens the door, like the office door, and he has this stupid smile that was like, oh my God, he embodied Christopher Reeve. It's like if he practiced this thing in the mirror like 1,000 times.
I'll bet he did.
Well,
Yeah.
I would say no. You go first. I got a lot of thoughts.
Okay. When Superman Returns first came out, I didn't like the movie at all. I actually watched it again the other day just because we were doing this. And I was like, damn, you know what? I've been hating on this movie, you know, and I actually enjoyed it more than I meant to because I was already going in with that prejudice of fuck Superman Returns. But but then I started watching, I was like, in comparison to like Man of Steel and everything else and everything that we've gotten since, I'm like, damn, you know what? This was actually pretty freaking good.
I enjoyed it a lot when it first came out. I was like, oh, okay, this is really cool. And I think it was more because it was, and again, not being nostalgic, it took me back to Christopher Reeve, not the movies, but Christopher Reeve itself, who I've always had like this, I don't know, a heartfelt thing, especially after his accident. You kind of say, damn, this is an actor that we won't get to see him in his full prime when it comes to, filmmaking. Or, and so he was kind of like that vision of that almost. And it had some great special. And let me tell you, as listen, Kevin Spacey, which we should not mention his name, I think he did a phenomenal job as Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I think he was ruthless. I think he was great on that. Much better than
Gene Hackman.
You think so?
I thought his representation of Lex Luthor was better than Hackman's in the sense of how ruthless he could be,
right?
And maniacal.
True. Yeah,
and his anger.
Yeah.
In comparison, Hackman's was very comic booky, and a lot of my opinion now, as I look at it in comparison to, what's his name? And so it just blows my mind that we have that now. If you compare it to who we have now,
well, even like I thought the worst one was one of the worst one was Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh yeah. God, I did not like that representation.
I think missed opportunity to make him Riddler. I think he gave more Riddler vibes.
Well, he could have made it work, but he tried to become almost like the Joker in Batman.
I felt like he was trying to be more like Gene Hackman. I thought he was giving more Gene Hackman vibes.
Really? Look at that. He was all over the place. I guess that's what it is. So,
it's just not a good performance. And that's the bottom line.
But Kevin Spacey did a great job, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good movie. And unfortunately, I guess because it didn't do that well in the box office, that's why I
got the box office numbers.
Oh.
So
here we go.
All right, here we go.
Back in 2006, domestically, it did just over 200 million. Internationally, it did 191 million, which is about 391 million worldwide. In today's numbers, that's 626 million.
That's amazing. And what were the ticket sales?
I didn't calculate that. I didn't get that deep.
Okay.
But it's funny because that was one movie I was actually following, like the behind the scenes leading up to it. So I was like looking up all the articles. I was watching any like content that was out there, and we're talking about 2006, so the internet was still not like what it was today. And again, Bryan Singer, he gave us the X-Men, the what we know today from with Hugh Jackman and everything.
Right.
So I think it was one of the best ways to, like you said, it felt like a Christopher Reeves movie, but like when it came to wardrobe and set design, that opening scene where he's saving people from the airplane, probably one of the best Superman action sequences to this date.
Yeah.
It is. It was. I thought it was great.
And
I thought it was fantastic.
I watched it shortly after watching the new Superman movie, and when I saw that, I was like, "Wow, this still looks amazing!" Like the VFX was great. The music, the pacing. I think probably the biggest reason why that movie wasn't commercially successful was because people were probably just tired of Lex Luthor being the bad guy. I think people wanted like a Metallo or or a Doomsday, I think they wanted something bigger. I think, to bring back Lex again as a villain, and I don't know why they keep doing that. Like there's other villains besides Lex Luthor. Like I get it. Like I read the comics, I watched the cartoons, and I know how much of a nemesis he is, but it's like move on from Lex Luthor. Like just move on from him as a like make him part of the story, but don't make him the main villain. And I think that's probably what I don't want to say bore people, but they probably wanted something bigger. I think they wanted like a something that was more like toe to toe, without going back to like General Zod or something like that.
Right.
Well, I think it was also not only that, but the fact that, and spoilers for anyone who has not seen Superman Return, 3, 2, 1, Superman had a son. And a lot of people thought that was BS.
Yeah.
Even though nowadays, if you read the comic books nowadays, yes, he does have a son and stuff like that. But back then, and I don't remember back then if in the comic books he had a son, but for this, the way they introduced his son was, for me, it was kind of cool. But it's the fact that it's like, oh, now he has a son. So I think people were just like, oh, really? That. And then I think the other biggest criticism was Superman lifting an entire kryptonite island into space.
That was dope. I thought that was cool.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna add a little extra to that as well because I defended going around the Earth and turning back time.
Go for it.
He doesn't actually lift. He doesn't actually touch the kryptonite. They go out of their way to show that he's lifting the ground under it.
Yeah.
And the kryptonite actually starts to come through.
Yeah.
And that's when he starts to, he's just as he's getting to space and he tosses it out there at the last minute. It's literally almost going to touch his hand at that point.
He still lifted an island, dude. An island. So now I go back to what is it? Neil deGrasse Tyson. So you have, how did he know that was the perfect pivot point in this entire island? One, and two, with the amount of weight, he should have just gone straight through because all that weight just would have just
the velocity of him flying.
Well, not the velocity, but just trying to like balance an entire island on a human being. And let's say you could do that, you still have, I mean, an insane amount of metric tons, that is, gravity's working on. He's not going to be able to lift it. Again, we're going into the science of
Neil deGrasse Moda.
We're going into the science of a superhero movie, which doesn't make sense.
Really? Yes, exactly. We got men that can fly.
I would say this: the costume was cool.
Nowadays.
Yeah. I like the costume in Superman Returns. They went with like a more maroon, darker red, and even the S crest had many S's engraved in it.
And you know what? It's the only time I could accept him being in underwear because they look more like swimming trunks.
Yeah.
As opposed to Speedos.
Yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was the same outfit that they let Tom Welling wear at the end of Smallville. Like that version of Superman where he actually, if I'm not mistaken, that was the one that when he rips open
see it, so there's that.
Yeah. The only time they did that with Tom Welling is because he refused to wear the tights, but they superimposed it on him. But the shirt, when he rips it open, that's the only time he actually dons anything. But yeah, I think you're right because he came out around that time. That's when Smallville was ending at that point too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But then that brings us now to Man of Steel.
Right.
And I think Frank, you kind of touched it on you kind of said something. Yeah, why couldn't they bring another villain? That's what Man of Steel did. They didn't introduce Lex Luthor right away. They just introduced Zod, which I thought Zod was a much better villain on
That's
that.
Actually Adam.
So for those of you, because of course this.
You got the black costumes. You don't have a blue one?
It's expensive, these toys.
It's got a lot of
You're right.
These are Hot Toys. They're not cheap.
Oh yeah, Hot Toys are expensive.
Yes. So Adam is showing his Superman collection here.
Yeah,
which is pretty interesting. But yeah, so Man of Steel, done by Zack Snyder, directors Zack Snyder and David S. Goyer as a writing the script. So this movie actually, the budget of this movie was anywhere from between 225 million to 258 million, and box office worldwide was 670 million, and my numbers adjusted for inflation came out to 860 million dollars, which in today's world, that's an impressive number.
No, it's very
super impressive on that. But this, this was the one movie that it brought back Superman back to the screen, and this is a movie that also made Superman more of a what happens if you actually have a Superman type character in the real world like today.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I like that take much better than people accepting an alien out of nowhere that's, has these godly, powers, and they just go, oh, okay, he's our, he's here to save us. In this version of it, it was more darker. It was a lot more. This was, of course, post 9/11, especially after that. The amount of destruction that people actually, a lot of people criticize in this film, and that to me is kind of a talking point for the movie after that. But I felt this movie, in my opinion, was the best Superman out there, and that's my opinion because I thought Henry Cavill. Again, more of an unknown, just like they did with Christopher Reeve. And I think he also got the same treatment where like people are like, who the hell is this guy? And then after the movie and after some of the other movies that even though they weren't as successful, people wanted to see Henry Cavill come back as Superman. People just loved him being Superman after that. Same thing with like Ben Affleck being Batman. A lot of people criticized the crap out of that. But then everybody was like, no, we want Ben Affleck back as Batman because he did such a great job at it. So some people don't think so, but I personally think so. But yeah, it was a much more darker tone to it. And of course, Hans Zimmer. So that's the one thing we didn't speak about in
the original.
That John Williams is the one did the score for that, and it has been kind of like the staple for Superman.
Mm-hmm.
It's been such an iconic theme that every time you present Superman, and no matter what it is, it seems like John Williams' score is always in the background.
Yeah,
but this time around, Hans Zimmer said, "Screw that, I'm doing my own." And personally, I thought it was a fantastic. Like if you listen to that score, it is a fantastic score. Beautifully done. Really I think it's just phenomenal. It's probably my favorite Hans Zimmer score of all of them. But that being said, I also thought it complemented the movie very well. So one thing that I really love about movies is when the soundtrack is as much a character in the movie as it is, the movie itself. So things like Jaws, things like E.T. or Jurassic Park, all of them have this iconic theme and this iconic score that is part of the movie. And when you listen to it, you go, oh, wait, that's this movie or that's this movie, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought Hans Zimmer did a good job trying to do the same thing with that. But that being said, I mean, of course, Henry Cavill, the amount of workout he did, I mean, he looked like a freaking brick house. I mean, he embodied, I think, what Superman in the comic books.
Yeah, exactly.
Admire those pecs right there. It's just
look at it.
Compared to Cavill, he already had a phenomenal body before.
Well, not like Superman. I mean, he was like that. Yeah, yes. He was in shape,
but he was in great shape because he did that movie. What was it, Immortals or something like that?
Yeah, the Greek, another Zack Snyder Greek, God type of movie. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he looked good in that. So
Yeah. But this movie, look, this film walked a tightrope between the philosophical exploration of what does it mean to be Superman in a fearful world, and it's true, and I like that that part of it. And so at the time, DC really needed Man of Steel to be a success and not just a film, because of course they wanted to have an IP, like an entire franchise, just like Marvel was doing. So, but it was said that Superman is historically seen as too perfect or too old-fashioned for modern audiences. So I think this side of him was, for me, it was a welcome thing. It made Superman more grounded. It made Superman more
It humanized him.
I think it humanized him. That's my opinion. I think it humanized him, but I also think that it made him what will you say? I think we could all relate to that.
Yes.
When Superman being too perfect, we can't relate to that because we're all assholes. Right?
But Superman is not. That it does. That's the thing that this movie does, that, to give it credit, none of the other movies have done.
Right.
It made him becoming Superman, even the little short parts that we got, like him with his, covering his ears because he can hear everything all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's painful to him. And you're seeing that, and you're saying to yourself, man, you know what? It had to be tough to be this kid who, you're just like everybody else for the most part of your life up to that point. And then all of a sudden, boom, here I am seeing all these things. Here I am being able to see my teacher's skeleton and how freaked out I was. But I think they did a great job of conveying that. And that's part of what humanizes that Superman, is that fact that he earns, like you see how he earned the right to be Superman.
Correct.
To deal with all of those things that he had taken, where we would have been like, oh, cool, I got superpowers.
Well, it also, they show us that he does make mistakes, even as Superman. So that's what I really meant about humanizing. Now, a lot of it was critiqued by me about how he had a disregard to other people's safety at the end, holding Zod's head and destroying buildings, right? Literally almost pointing it at people. But that was part of the mistake factor that made it more realistic in a world where it's like, oh, he can't literally stop everybody from being hurt from his inadvertent actions trying to save everybody at the same time.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, the person who's trying to create all that destruction, how do you stop not only a person who is trying to kill you, but at the same time, the destruction that's happening everything around you? I mean, you can't do everything at the same time. The only thing you can think about is like, let me stop this person first.
Yeah.
Before I get into trying to save everybody else, because I can't just start saving people, because if not, he still kills people. Correct. Or he gets to the agenda that he wants. So that's why I like that whole thing. How about you, Adam? I know you love this movie.
So
it's too evident.
This is definitely my number one Superman movie. I think what Reeves did with his Superman is what Cavill did with his Superman. They made two versions that people are always trying to chase. And I knew what I was getting into when I heard Zack Snyder was making a DC movie. I was like, I'm all for it, and I always it always bothers me when people go, oh, it was so dark. I'm like, well, what did you think? It's not like Zack Snyder does not have a track record of happy, colorful movies. Like, his style, what you were getting into. It would be different if all of a sudden this was like a romantic comedy and you're like, what am I watching right now? So aesthetic, suit design, world building, like the whole opening of just Krypton, that in and itself could have been just its own movie. Like, just like seeing the creatures, seeing the battle, seeing
Krypton was insane.
That depiction of Krypton, I almost wanted like a prequel movie of just Krypton with Russell Crowe. I just wanted that. Like when that ended, I'm like, wait, I want to see more of this. Like I knew it was going to end because of the
Right.
story.
Yeah.
But it was just great. And then, like you said, Rob, it's like you believe that this person actually exists in this world. It's not, like, and what's funny, everyone's like, oh, he's so dark. I'm like, well, no, no, no. Compared to everyone else, he's still really, really, really good.
Correct.
It's just that, you're just taking a Superman character and putting him into a more grounded, darker world, which is way more believable.
It's a cynical world, which is what we live in now.
And well, I know we're gonna get to the 2025 Superman, so I'll give my thoughts on that one. But the suit, that's it. I'm forever no trunks.
Fantastic.
I'm forever no trunks.
Dude, when I saw that he had no
This
trunks, I was like,
does not need
finally.
trunks. It does not need trunks. It looks like a Superman suit. It looks like an alien suit. It looks like a space suit. It's the way I'm sure the cave was probably CGI most of the time, but like even the cape, the way it is,
Right.
I like the idea of the spaceship being moved to another part and then that becoming his fortress of solitude.
Correct.
Even though the fortress of solitude in
Superman, 79.
Superman, yeah, that still is awesome. Like just that design, and they've been trying to copy that ever since. But
they copy that design through cartoons, through everything.
Yes.
But that's the thing. This is like the first version that like really redid everything.
Correct.
It redid everything, but still kept to like the lore. And there was so much world building going on behind the scenes that would have come out if Zack Snyder would have been let, to do the rest of his stories. Like,
right.
For instance, when he first goes to the pod or the spaceship and you see most of the pods open, one of those pods was for Supergirl. So it was already planting seeds for movies that like were going to be in the works. So there was, it wasn't just like a one and done movie. Obviously we know like everything that happened after the fact, but yeah, his portrayal as Superman, even Michael Shannon as Zod.
Oh my God!
I loved his Zod.
That was a great representation.
He killed it. And even oh my God, I always forget her name. The one that played Feora, the other Kryptonian. She kicked ass.
Yes.
Like, and that's the thing. Like what you were saying, the destruction. You're going up against 3 Kryptonians with just as much powers as you are. What are you gonna do? What everyone else does? Go to a deserted desert and then where no one can get hurt or killed, and then you can do as much destruction. It's like no, like in real life, they're gonna want to kill people. People are gonna die. That's what adds weight. That's what adds the stakes, in the story. But yeah, I mean, soundtrack, Hans Zimmer. Again, new theme that I feel like is just as iconic as the original, and you hear it and you think of Superman. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was it brought it's almost like the Reeves version, but in today's time. Like this, it's almost like a checkpoint in life. Like, okay, we got this Superman. Nope. Yep, we finally got another good one that's just as good.
Right. And I think what you were saying. So Superman for now, for our days, but at what I would say is, he looked alien almost, but he looked heroic when he walked basically almost like a god, but he didn't consider himself that. I think that being Superman to him was a burden.
Yeah.
Not because he didn't want to be Superman, but does this world deserve Superman? And he even said it in that church when he was talking, can I trust humans? Can humans be trusted? Right? And he wants to trust them, but it's just that we keep doing the wrong things no matter how many times somebody saves us or how many times. Look, I mean, we came out of a pandemic where the entire world basically united to try to beat this thing. And as soon as that was done, we were right back to, trying to kill each other. Right? So it's like, can humans be trusted that way? And it's and you know what? It's a valid question. And this is a movie that actually asked that question, which I thought it was very, very, very smart. And the other controversial thing was him killing Zod people were like, "Oh my God, Superman doesn't kill." And what people don't realize that Superman has killed in comic books in the past, right? It's not like he does it all. He's not Wolverine. Wolverine fucking kills everybody. Like Wolverine, I think has a kill almost in every issue.
He doesn't
that comes
kill
out.
with the intent to kill.
Right. So in this case, it was again grounded in the real world. It's like I could either end this man's life and save this family, or save everybody, or I keep him alive, and there is still the chance that he might escape, he might try to do something, and more lives are going to die. And in the end, I don't think he never wanted to kill him, because you could see that it pained him to do that. But I think that's also a very human reaction, and that's why I like this Superman a lot. Mark, what was your opinion on this?
I really did enjoy the film, oddly enough.
Not the way you made it sound. I really enjoyed it.
Like oddly enough. I was looking forward to the film itself. It was a different take. Like I said, I had my little criticisms way back when, but I reflect on it. But the outcome out of that particular movie is we got somebody, I think, who depicted Superman properly over these many decades that we've had a cinematic Superman. Cavill handles it perfectly, so I was very glad to have him. Very much like how we got Batfleck, as Batman. We got Ben Affleck as Batman, and I think they both represented what we needed as far as a Batman and a Superman. But mostly with Cavill, with this, the way he was able to act within the character, the representation, the storyline itself, and like Adam said, the visuals of Krypton and inside the movie was amazing. I thought like a different take on that. The realism of the humanity of Superman, how he grows up and how he becomes Superman, and then how he utilizes that in his everyday life, especially with how he lost his own father. I like that. I really did enjoy this film. This is like one of my go-to where I'll watch it. Whereas I'm not going to run to go watch Superman Returns, but I originally thought back with Superman Returns, I was hopeful for that. And then I felt kind of let down, but there was some key aspects in that movie that I liked. But with this one, it's my go-to. And then after that, if I wanted to watch another Superman movie, usually I go to the Chris Reeves version,
right,
or the Donner version, I should say.
Right. And it's interesting because, again, the Donner version on the second film, it was a lot more serious tone compared to the more they have more comedic, like the original had more comedic tones to it, but then the Donner one was a little more serious.
Well, the Lester version compared because both movies were filmed simultaneously, the first Superman and the second one with Donner, but then Donner got canned by the Salkinds, and then
the second one, I mean, got how much? I think it was a big percentage of that movie got refilmed or something like that, because he didn't want a lot of the Donner stuff, and they definitely didn't want Marlon Brando. By the way, Marlon Brando has always been the definitive Jor-El until I saw what's his name? Russell Crowe do I think his Jor-El is just on point, man.
Yeah, I think it's a stronger character more than anything.
Much better than what's his name? Bradley Cooper.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So, you don't know what they're saying half the time anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think we can all agree. I mean, and you know what? I know a lot of people out there are going to say you're wrong. The new Superman is the one, and we're about to talk about that. That's the one that's my Superman. That's the better Superman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
you know what?
Here's the challenge.
In my world, there's nobody saying that. But anyway.
But here's the challenge. Oh, trust me, I hear it. But here's the challenge. And the challenge is, how many people out there saw the original Superman animated series? The one that Tim Daly is the one that did the voice. Yeah. A ton of people. And it got so much praise, right? Mm-hmm. I just watched that entire series. It was 3 seasons of it.
Yep.
And in that entire series, I said to myself, why is it that Superman acts more like the Superman from Man of Steel than he does from any other movie?
I'll tell you why. Because Tim Burton made his Batman.
Right.
The animated series was based off of Tim Burton's Batman.
Correct.
The Superman series was based off the Tim Burton animated inspired Batman. So it got like this, like this gateway drug
tone.
Yeah, it blended from one to the other.
Yeah, so by the time Superman kind of got into this world, it was stepping into a world that was serious. It was more serious, was a little more dark. Obviously, compared to like the Batman animated series, it
much lighter,
Superman was much
right,
lighter,
right.
but the world was the same, and they crossed over and all that stuff. So it didn't have its first step as like, oh, let's make this really campy, bright, super happy. Like no, like it was stepping into the Batman animated series. So
Yeah.
and then obviously from there, like that's so much separation from the Christopher Reeves version that the only other movie that comes close to it is going to be Man of Steel, which I'm sure Zack Snyder, that was probably one of his influences as well.
But it's like you were saying, it does blend from that. But like as I watch this, I'm like, Superman in a lot of these episodes, he's like so serious. Right? He's not like, smiling all the time. He does. And he does some, what I would say, some farm boy shit out there, and does some really good stuff out there. Great. But not in every episode, And then, of course, Lex Luthor, my God, he was freaking awesome in this series.
Yeah.
He was cynical. He was diabolical, but he was also smart in a lot of ways. Very like he was such a great, and he was very he didn't act like a child. So that was the one thing I liked about him. It's like, wow, you could take him a lot more serious. I think that's why the Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor in Smallville also worked, because while
it's almost like he's an evil genius.
It's yeah, exactly. So that's why I thought that was actually portrayed very well. But yeah, no. So I think we could all agree. We at least for us, I think we could agree that Man of Steel was probably the best one out of them. But a lot of people don't agree, and that's why we go into Superman 2025.
All right, so let me weigh in just for a minute
before we get into that. Okay, go.
Okay, go.
So for me, the best one is, and it's yes, a little bit nostalgia, but Superman the movie is the best one to me.
Okay.
Followed by Man of Steel pretty closely. I mean, especially now. Again, I watched it again just for this, and when I saw it the first time, I feel like I was just overwhelmed by as much stuff that was going on in the overall movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I kind of didn't appreciate Zod when I first saw it, because when I watch it on rewatch, it makes more sense. Like when you see Superman going through the things of his ears, getting the super hearing, getting the vision, and that's really the thing that helps him beat Zod, is that him having to adjust to these new powers that he ends up having on Earth. That was the thing that helped him. But Zod takes to it so much more quickly than Superman did. And then it makes, when I watched it again, I was like, dude, I wasn't paying attention the way I should have been, because he specifically says, like, I was bred for combat. I was bred. So all of these things that are happening to him, he's been trained to adapt and overcome.
Correct. So he's been trained to actually pretty much like any soldier or any Marine out there, where it's like, listen, we train you, but then in the field, you're going to come up with things that we can't train you for. And you have to adjust and improvise. And that's exactly what he did with those powers. Right. And he was like, shit, I just got a boost of who I am.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's the perfect saying. What was it an unmovable force versus an unstoppable object? Like that's
Yes.
like what's gonna win. And he even says it like you're like it's either me or them. Like there is no plan C or anything like that. Like he
Exactly.
has to
Correct.
make a choice, and that's why like when he winds up killing him, people are like, "Oh my God!" Like he should. I'm like, there is no other option. Like he knows there's no turning him good, or
Yeah.
or saving him or anything like that. And I would say also to your point too, Frank. When all those flashbacks with him like saving the kids on the bus and everything,
Right.
there was a conversation that him and his father was having, and he was like, "What, should I let him die?" And he goes, "Maybe." And that line gets a lot of like flack,
Oh my
but it's
God,
like
yes.
Oh yeah, it
in
does.
real life, it's like, like you're still a kid, and if you would have revealed yourself,
Yeah.
not only are you putting yourself in danger, but you're putting your parents in danger. Like everything, his identity is the only thing that's
The
keeping him
government
safe.
would have came in, taken
Yeah.
him away, and you'll never see him again.
Exactly. And yeah, I hate to say it, but like if you're a parent and you have kids and you have to choose whether your kids live versus someone else's, you're as horrible of a decision it is,
You would
you're
say
going to
yours.
choose your own. So
Yeah.
it's the same reflection with like with Superman killing Zod. It's the same balance that his father was like, I have to put you first, even if it potentially means that someone else is going to get hurt or die,
Right.
because that's the stakes that,
Or
that
even
this
his
world
own
is.
death. He didn't let him save him
He
when the
literally
hurricane
didn't let
came
him
to
save
take him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally because he knew that he still wasn't ready. Like he kept telling you, "You're not ready. You're not ready."
Right.
And it was clear based off of that conversation they were having in that car just before his before he died.
Yeah.
It was a clear indication that like you're still not getting it, and in order for you to get it, I'm gonna have to like sacrifice myself. So it's again, there was a lot of weight in this
I
movie.
don't think
And
that was the
wasn't-
plan. Just to go off.
Yeah, it's like
It wasn't like,
gonna go-
I'll show you.
yeah. This dog is more important than my own life.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't think people were ready for how much weight this movie was going to have. And again,
Yeah.
like it's a lot of movie to take in on the first, like it's a lot.
Yeah.
And it is something to me, I think that gets better with age and over time. And,
Yeah.
and it's held up so well. Like from a technical standpoint, storyline standpoint, character standpoint,
Yeah.
like I don't think anything has not aged well in this thing. And even from a VFX standpoint, like I look at it, I'm like, it's pretty flawless.
Oh,
Like,
no, it's still great.
Yeah.
it's sound design and yeah, sorry, I'll get off my soapbox.
No, no, but it's like you were saying, Adam. I mean, his father was like, "You're not ready," but he knew why. Again, this is the world we live in. You expose yourself, imagine everything that could happen down the line, right? So everything from, how can I say? He had to present himself at the right moment. Because even what is it? Lawrence Fishburne, right? Well, he was playing Perry White. He says, "Could you imagine how the world will react if somebody actually like this really existed?" Which it's a true thing, right? And I think in the movie Superman versus Batman, which I think Neil deGrasse Tyson actually came out on that. He even says, I think something about now we have to deal with a being that that defies all. I think it's like all questions about science and things like that, and who we are in the universe and all this thing. So it's true. It's a question of if a person like this really existed in the real world, because a lot of people, okay, I hear this very much, and this is my take on this. We live in such a cynical world that we need a movie that shows more of a brighter future, or something that makes us feel good inside. And yes, I think we should, we definitely need that, especially nowadays with all the bullshit that's going on. But this movie, you shouldn't blame it because it tries not to do that. You should praise it for trying to say, hey, the problem is that if we had a Superman like this is what would really happen in the real world. And for us,
then the boys came out.
and then the boys come out, and then that gets a lot of praise. But okay, you know.
Hey, it gets praised because it deserves it. That's a damn good show.
It's phenomenal, and just like what is it, Mr. Invincible or
Oh, the
Invincible?
Invincibles. Yeah.
Invincible. Yeah,
Yeah.
where I mean that gets praised too, and holy crap. There's a lot of destruction in there. Granted, it is
a lot of humanizing, a lot of blood. That's why it's animated.
Yeah, that's why it's animated. But I'm saying that, but it still gets praised for it. But then, when I hear about the whole Man of Steel, that's why I'm still kind of like perplexed. I'm like, are you serious? Have you seen some of the other superhero shows? I mean, this thing was still great compared to those. But that being said,
to be fair, a lot of that is the legacy of Superman, like the whole idea and the thing that they've made since the 50s and the 30s.
Right.
It's
the character, how he was. It's how he was written.
Yeah,
exactly. Right.
Listen,
remember, these are kids that created Superman. This is
I don't know
their
if I can show you
ideal.
this, but I had the entire comic run from the 90s at one point in my life. And then I sold it because I had to buy some film equipment. But anyway,
hey,
that comic run
man.
was not bright, sunny, colorful. There was.
Are we talking about the John Byrne era?
Leading up to the death of Superman. Leading
up
to
John Byrne.
This.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and then even after this, it still got dark with the people who were trying to come in and replace him, like Eradicator and all that stuff.
Right.
But that's the thing. Like, I think, like you said, I think people got stuck on like the 50s era of Superman, like this, farm boy and everything, and which is great. Like, I think that always exists in some form, but once you hit like the 90s, like that stopped like right away, and it became like it became dark. Like there was a lot of stakes in the comics, and and then you have like Frank Miller's version, which got even more darker. I think people, I don't know, maybe they just want something very polar opposite of like a Batman and everything. They just need that clear distinction. But for these two people to exist in the same world, it's hard to have that fine line. Like they have to bleed over at some point. And Man of Steel, I think, was the perfect representation of that. Like it was, because compared to everybody else, he was still really, really good. Like he was still struggling, but it was just a darker take on that. Even when, what's his name? When his father was giving him that story where he was like, oh yeah, we had a bad storm and then we saved our farm, but then we found out we killed the horses in the other farm, and that was another lesson. Yeah, it was another lesson. He was saying like even when you do good, people might still get hurt.
Right.
Which is a perfect reflection of the battle he was having with Zod.
Right.
He was trying to save everyone, but people are going to get hurt in the process. It's like you can't not hurt. It's like that becomes more unbelievable, and you're like, oh, okay, like what a perfect scenario that just happened.
Right. And I'm not sure where. To write on that, I'm not sure whether it was in a comic book or maybe one of the movies where Superman says, I hear the cry for help all over the world, and I have to choose who I'm going to save.
That was Superman Returns.
Was it in Superman Returns?
It's Superman Returns.
Okay, so and who I'm not going to save. So even that struggle in himself is like, I got to choose, and unfortunately, I can't save everybody, right? So, and that's also a very human thing, So it's interesting, and it's funny how like we really stayed on a Man of Steel because of, I think, how passionate we are about that movie, but not only what I think it represents and the themes it represents in it compared to some of the other movies that came out. But moving on.
Yes,
to Superman 25. So let's talk about Superman 25, the one carrying the hopes and dreams of a rebooted DC universe. So with a $225 million production, heavy marketing, this wasn't just another Superman movie. It was the movie to define DC's next chapter. So as we all know, Marvel did something that till this day, I don't think any studio is ever going to do, which is it came out with about 10 years and 30 movies of absolute success. And even in its lowest movies, like I would say Thor,
Dark World.
There were, I would say, even the Incredible Hulk, which a lot of people, didn't really like as much, but it was still 10 years of something that was such a success, and it led to, of course, Infinity War and Endgame, which made those, especially Endgame, became at a fraction of a time of moment the highest grossing movie of all time. Cameron had to go back and re-release freaking Avatar, because he's like a little girl that he can't.
He's like, they're not going to beat me.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to let them beat me. Let's re-release this. That being said, excuse me. My opinion is that before Doomsday, Disney and Marvel should just re-release
Endgame.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be awesome? overtake Avatar one more time. But that said, so Marvel did something great, which DC was like, why are we not there? So if you really look at the history of how these Marvel and DC has been trying to do movies in the theaters, DC is the one that started strong. Superman, 1979, Batman, and
89,
some of and some of the other DC,
the Joker, $1 billion.
The Joker, things like that, right? But Marvel always struggled, and then all of a sudden, boom, they have this amazing thing. Which, honestly, again, I don't think no studio will ever have a complete 10-year success. Even in the worst movies, those movies still made their money back and more.
Oh yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So DC is trying to struggle with this thing, and while we all love Man of Steel, which is what started the DCEU, it just never got there. And I think, of course, I think that was Warner Brothers' fault for not having a successful Kevin Feige figure who steers everything. They just let everybody do their own thing.
I will say this.
I'm going to step away for a second.
So I will say this. Zack Snyder did have a plan, a very flushed out plan. And we only saw 3 movies of that entire saga that he wrote out, which was Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. He had prequels, sequels lined up. He had, and I won't get into the whole thing, but I've read like what the plan was. And when I tell you that my mind is both blown and so disappointed that we didn't get to see that version, because a lot of those seeds were planted in those 3 specific movies.
Right.
Even in Wonder Woman, he had his hand in Wonder, like the first Wonder Woman was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the reason why that all happens because his daughter died, and then the studio took advantage and decided to like start messing with things, and then they just kept trying new things after every new movie that came out, and that's why they just felt like they were all over the place. Even up until right now, we're talking about Superman 2025. Did everyone here see Peacemaker?
Yes.
Okay, so he even retconned his own episode.
Yep. The
I
last episode of the last season. So that way, yeah.
So it just goes to show you that like there was a plan, and the stakes that Zack Snyder had was very high. They were like, "Hey, Marvel did this in 10 years. We need you to do this in 3 or 4."
And that's the
catch
problem.
up.
That was the problem.
And I think that trilogy, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League as a trilogy does not feel rushed. It technically is 4 movies because Zack Snyder's Justice League is so freaking long. So let's call it 4 movies because that's like 4. But that feels more like a complete story where there's no holes, there's no plot holes or anything like that. And it sucks that like, that we never got the full vision and version. Even in Zack Snyder's Justice League, he had to change things because the studio wouldn't let him use, they wouldn't let him use Green Lantern. So that's why we got the Martian Manhunter at the end.
Right.
But that character was supposed to be Green Lantern.
Right.
But they didn't want it because obviously of all these other things. And there was a little bit of hope when Black Adam came out, and There was that spark.
Well, that was, the arrogance of, Dwayne Johnson thinking that his brand was so important that people were just like, oh, sure, let's do it.
I think the reason why that movie wasn't successful money-wise was because the limitation run of the international audience. Domestically it did pretty good, but it didn't hit the international numbers because it was restricted in a lot of places. So it's almost like they wanted it to fail to do some sort of reboot. And then I had a second wind with The Flash. We all know how that went, even though Keaton was amazing in that. But it was just, again, the moment something didn't work out in a movie, they're like, okay, we got to keep redoing it. And then that didn't work out. So they never had a plan.
That's what I'm saying.
The plan
was that while Zack Snyder probably had a plan, because he has to step away, everybody, the studios, instead of saying, listen, we already know what the plan is. You have to stick with that. Let's bring somebody in that will actually still run with this plan. No, they went ahead and say, okay, everybody go do your thing. And some people were like, even Patty Jenkins, when she did the first Wonder Woman, which was great, but then she did the second one, she decided to do her own stuff. And that's why, even the third movie that was about to come out, they canceled it because she was going so off the rails that it's like, no, this has nothing to do with what's supposed to happen.
I mean, people don't see the correlation. Anything that Zack Snyder was involved in was very well received. Anything that he wasn't involved in was not very well received.
Even Aquaman.
Excluding the first Aquaman. It made a lot of money.
Aquaman made the most money.
Aquaman still,
the most money out of all of them. And was still,
listen, if you have Pitbull in your movie, I can't take it seriously. I can't. If he's coming out of the water with a Pitbull song, and nothing against Pitbull, it's just that's the polarizing artistic difference. You stepped away from what was already a very solid foundation, but you wanted to keep on being like Marvel. And it's like, use your strengths because you're different than Marvel. That's what's going to make you successful.
Yeah.
People don't want a DC version of Marvel. They want a DC version of DC. Like, they go to DC because it's more about gods and not about humans getting superpowers.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
that's why Marvel has always been, like, if you ever look at the Marvel universe is actually set in the real world. It's set in Manhattan, it's set in Brooklyn, it's set in Queens, it's set in in the real world. Well, in DC, Metropolis, Gotham City,
Central City,
all these are cities that just don't exist. And as a matter of fact, Gotham City and Metropolis, for a moment, they're actually both based on New York.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy how, you're right. In DC, the figures are more godlike than the street level. In some cases, the street level heroes of Marvel, which I think we could relate to more. And you're right. DC should have just stuck with who they are. That's why even Ryan Reynolds makes fun of them in Deadpool, going, "Oh my God, you're so dark, like the DC, like the DC universe."
Are you from
or
the
something.
DC universe?
Yeah, or something like that. So it's no, you're right, but I think that's where both of these franchises, I think that's why the DCEU did not succeed, was because they were trying to catch up to Marvel. Marvel went ahead and took its time. DC should have just said, listen, let's not try to catch up. Let's do our own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have made more money.
It would have made more money, right? So it would have done Superman. Okay, you did Superman, you did Wonder Woman, and you did Aquaman, right? But what they did was they did those other two after Justice League or something like that, or Batman versus Superman or whatever it was, So it was just like they were trying to introduce, they were trying to put that group together.
In the second movie, basically.
In the second movie, so quick, when in reality, it's like, let them do their own thing, introduce these different characters, build it up to a Justice League
that's
moment.
The big part of it, because in the Marvel universe, Marvel Cinematic Universe, they get their own movie. You get a Captain America, you get a Black Panther, you get all these different things. Even Guardians of the Galaxy, which shouldn't have been a success.
No, that came out of left field.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that was a James Gunn movie.
Their own thing.
Yeah,
exactly right. They gave them their own thing. They said, "Hey, here's the movie. It's about these characters. Screw everything else. This is the story that we're concentrating on."
The beauty of that was that with Marvel, they did tease the whole Thanos and Infinity Gauntlet thing, and that made people salivate. And they did not do that with the DCU stuff.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, Batman versus Superman or the Justice League, Desaad should not be your big bad guy. It should be Darkseid.
Yeah.
And Darkseid should have been also teased and going, no, we're waiting for a Darkseid movie after like 10 or 15 movies. You'll get your Darkseid movie. Yeah. And you keep teasing them, but no, they just decided to do Desaad, which honestly, the Desaad that they made compared to the one that Zack Snyder made, two completely different characters almost. You know, so yeah, that, and again, we're still staying within this Zack Snyder stuff. We keep trying to get to 2025,
no, but that just goes to show you that Superman is the epitome of superhero characters. If you don't get that right,
correct,
it's downhill from there, because anyone should recognize like honestly, like you should be able to put out a Superman movie and easily make 500 million or more. Correct. Because of just the character itself.
Yeah.
You know, and then looking at the box office numbers, you know, obviously inflation for Superman 1978, that more than did it. If you do inflation on Superman 2006, that hit the 600 plus mark.
Right.
Man of Steel 2013 numbers, 670 million worldwide. If you do inflation, that's 900 plus million.
Yeah.
Worldwide. So on paper, I know we're going to go into Superman 2025. It ended just under 600 million worldwide.
It's
so
500. It's $500 million away. Well, yeah, no, you're right, because it's now going to streaming.
It's going to streaming. So it's actually, if after inflation, it is the lowest performing Superman movie in the box office.
And it's the lowest ticket sales too, because
so it's, again, now we're going to get into it, you know, but it's again, you know, the numbers also kind of like don't lie. And I think in the previous versions of Superman, all those movies that came out, again, you know, as you get into the older films, your marketing is not as accessible as it is today. You know, like you actually had to probably market it harder in 2013 versus 2006 versus 1978. Like there was, you know, it's not like today where like TikTok didn't even exist in 2013, and that has billions of users. You know, it's just there's more going for this movie, but at the same time, did it perform well because people prefer streaming? Like that, there could be an argument for that as well. But now you're talking about, it's been 12 years since a solo Superman movie. Because Cavill never got his official sequel or trilogy. I won't kick off the conversation. You guys kick it off.
You just did, man.
You just did kick off the conversation. I don't know.
No, so here's what I would say. Yeah, they came up with this movie because, of course, they gave it to James Gunn because I think DC, Warner Brothers finally said, yes, we need our own Kevin Feige. And I think after what James Gunn went through with the MCU, and a lot of people have actually criticized the MCU for certain ways that, for certain practices that they have done, especially in the visual effects world. How they probably have treated some of the actors and some of the creative people, but James Gunn just said, "Hey, he went back to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 after being accused of some really bad tweets that he did, and then he got fired for it. They hired him back so he could finish the trilogy, and then after that, he just said, I'm done. And then now he has DC." I think the way he is portraying, or the if you look at his the roster of movies that are coming out, you kind of question certain things, but you're going, all right. I mean, not the way I would have done it, probably, or the normal way somebody would have done it. he came out with Superman, which is exactly what you needed to do in order to kick this off. He should have came out with with a Batman, and there's some controversy with that in the background, where like the Batman with
Robert Pattinson.
yeah, where Robert Pattinson is not part of this universe, but it's still going to get done, and yet we don't know what's going to get, because James Gunn kind of basically said, well, I'm going to grab some of the stuff from Snyder and disregard everything else. Again, we just said that in Peacemaker, he retconned he changed the Justice League for his own, as opposed to the one from Zack Snyder, which that's exactly what you saw at the end of
Yeah, we don't have the Aquaman.
It was Aquaman, Superman. It was Aquaman, Superman, Flash, and Wonder Woman, but it was Aquaman and Flash who were the ones that, Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller, the ones that were on the screen.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's
Guy Gardner. It's like Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, and
it was only them too.
Terrific.
Mr. Terrific was in there
and
too.
And then David Cornsweet Superman.
Right, but what I'm saying, the
interaction.
The interaction was just, I think, Dave Furlan and what's the girl
Isabella Merced.
Isabella Merced.
Yeah.
So I think what they're doing, it's an experiment. We have to see how great James Gunn does, right? So this movie, like you were saying, Adam, it opened up to, because it got a lot of buzz, and people were like, well, can James Gunn deliver? So a lot of people went, and it got a lot of great reviews. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people think that it was, it got an A on Cinema Score. It got an 85% positive reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. What's your take on this movie? Because I have a lot to say. But I'll leave you guys first on this.
Do you want to go first?
Yes,
sure.
You could go first.
Yeah, you.
Okay, first off, I think the casting was good. I like Cornsweet as Superman. I think there's moments where I'm like, oh my god, like that was really good. Like that scene between him and Lois where she's interviewing him.
Yes,
that was like peak. Like I'm like, great. Like everything about that scene was gold. I think obviously a lot of the people looked like comic book characters. So as far as like being a very comic accurate movie, this is probably the most comic accurate movie that we've ever got of a Superman movie, which I kind of like. Again, I wanted something different. I didn't want another Man of Steel. I wanted a different Superman. VFX were great. I thought they were very clean. One or two shots I probably picked up on, like, you could have done a little bit better. But as far as like overall, really good. I like the flying sequences. I thought that was a pretty cool take on the way he did it. As far as like storyline, after rewatching Superman Returns, I've seen Man of Steel so many times, but there is a lot from the 2006 Superman, Man of Steel, and Christopher Reeve Superman that's in this movie. Like almost shot for shot and almost storylines. So as far as originality for what was driving the story, that wasn't really there for me. I think Mr. Terrific was the best part of the movie. I think he was MVP. Like, to me, that was the best thing to come out of that movie. I think like I want to see more of his character in other projects, like the way he did it. I think Superman was the weakest part of the whole movie for me. I don't think I got enough of him. The suit, it was like pajamas. I was not sold on the suit.
Sweater.
I think that
it's a freaking sweater.
Like the design is good, but it looked like it didn't fit him. And that's a shame, because you can tell that David Cornsweet worked out. Like, because when he was in his normal clothes, he looked more brooding and like more physically like just intimidating in his normal, button-up shirt and pants than he did in the Superman, actual costume. Soundtrack was, besides the Superman theme, I don't remember the soundtrack.
Correct.
I wasn't a fan of the parents. I think they were
Oh my god!
I get it. I think he was trying to go too much like Christopher Reeve Superman parents, and I think
It reminded me of the Superman parents when they try to reinvent Superman back in late 80s, early 90s with its own, where they had uh Jonathan Kent alive.
yeah,
And if you remembered that comic run,
yeah,
it kind of modernized Superman at the time. I don't know if it finished off or anything, but they've changed it so many times. But it reminded me of that. They were trying to humanize more of the character. And making him a softie was weird, though.
yeah, yeah. I just overall, like, I watched it twice, and I watched it with two different groups of people, and I think we all kind of walked away. We were like, it's a good movie, you know. Is it a movie I'm going to keep watching over and over again? Maybe if the universe starts to get like bigger and more interesting, maybe I'll just watch it just to kind of whatever. But like, I probably will never watch this movie as much as I would watch Man of Steel. Like,
Right.
I'll watch Man of Steel like once a month, and I'll be totally happy with my life. You know, it's, you know, with this one, again, there's cool parts to it. You know, the whole Ultraman twist, it wasn't really a twist. I kind of knew that was coming, like,
Yeah.
right away.
Everybody knew. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, I was almost secretly saying like, man, what if Henry Cavill was underneath that outfit? Like, that would be unexpected. That would surprise me.
Let me tell you who the real Superman is.
Yeah, but you know, it's I like Crypto. I thought that was cool. You know, sometimes over the top.
Fucking hated that dog.
You know, Metamorpho. I liked his powers, but it just got way too weird with a floating head, and I wasn't sold on the prosthetics. Like, honestly, I thought he should have just been a full CG character, with the way his powers manipulate.
And the underwears he had goes in the. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I liked the way Lex looked. I think progressively throughout the movie, I think he became too whiny and too obsessed with Superman in a not good way. And I wasn't crazy that he had like all these people working in a room for him on computers. I just felt like that felt very WB show to me. I don't know. I mean, again, I can nitpick at a lot of little things. Overall, like, it was a solid movie. It was probably better than what I thought it was going to be. I liked Corn Sweat as Superman, and I'm curious to see like how his specific version is going to evolve. The Supergirl cameo, I know it's based off of a specific comic run. I just wasn't crazy that that's how she was introduced. Like, again, we haven't gotten a Supergirl, like a proper Supergirl, since The Flash, and even before then, we've never really, besides the animated, I mean, besides the
There was a
WB
movie.
show.
There was a movie.
Yeah.
TV show, yeah.
Well, the movie was
Yeah.
way back when.
Yeah.
But the TV series still, to me, is peak Supergirl to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Same here.
she's like, I don't think it's met that level yet. And it's like,
Right.
and that's the thing, like, you have to see what people are thinking about last. How are you going to reintroduce it? And you're introducing like this drunk, stumbling Supergirl, which I get. I'm sure that's going to be part of whatever the storyline is for whatever, but it's like, nobody was like floored by it. And it's
Right.
almost like that's how a lot of the movie was done. There was a lot of stuff that like was introduced for the first time, but you weren't floored by it. And I get it's probably part of a bigger world, and maybe it'll make sense down the line, but like, you're taking a big risk by like not using this first impression to your advantage. And I think a lot of these first impressions were just like, they didn't live up to it. But you get Mr. Terrific, who we've never seen before. It was great.
Well, he
Like,
was actually
He came out in
he's
the
actually
Arrowverse.
in the Arrow shows.
well, I
He's
mean,
in
like,
there.
from a movie standpoint,
Right.
Oh, yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Correct.
and
Correct.
and like, it was great. Like, it was just such a good way. Like, you got his full story in there. But that's the thing. There was a lot of characters. I remember every time you had to focus on another character, you're taking away from Superman in his own
exactly.
movie.
Yeah.
And he made it work, but I didn't want to watch a movie that worked. I wanted to watch a Superman movie. Like, that's what I wanted. And I felt like he wasn't on screen for as much as I wanted him to be there. I don't know. Again, I probably give it like a somewhere between like a 7-ish out of 10. You know, it has its redeeming moments and everything, and because it's part of a bigger universe, of course, I'm going to try to invest in it and everything. But Again, I was expecting it to be this way. It's a James Gunn movie with the jokes and all that stuff, and for the most part, they kind of worked. And there were things that I wasn't expecting that were great. There was things that I was expecting that didn't happen. Yeah, I saw it twice because I just happened to go with two different groups. I didn't plan on seeing it a second time. As opposed to Man of Steel, I just kept watching it in the theaters until like they stopped playing it. You know,
that's what happens when you have. That's what happens when you have the AMC pass. You go as many times as you want.
Yeah, true.
So, how about you, Frankie?
So, I love that most of the things that I was going to say, Adam's already said. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. For me, it's a solid 7. And the thing that really tells you that it's not as good as it should be is I went into this, unfortunately, with high expectations because, we love Superman, everything like that. We want to see a really good Superman movie. But I also went to see Fantastic Four, which I wasn't going to see because I already you have the Fantastic Four track record. And when you enjoy Fantastic Four, which shouldn't be good, more than Superman, that's a problem. But anyway, the suit is the biggest thing that bothers the shit out of me every time I look at it. It's like it's a sweater. It's freaking... It never looks like it fits him correctly. There's times when he looks good, like when they're taking him in and he's in handcuffs. I'm like, that's the best he's gonna look in the movie is when he's in handcuffs. I mean, come on, man.
It's funny. I compared that scene to like when Superman in Man of Steel was also in handcuffs.
In Man of Steel, right?
Right. And here's the difference. In Man of Steel, he was still walking down that hallway like if he was a god. Yes. Right. In this one, he looked pathetic.
Yeah. Agree. Emo. I agree completely. But this one here, yes, Lex Luthor, way too much of a whiny crybaby, and not to knock Nicholas Hoult, he kills it in his acting, but he's acting out what they gave him as a script, which was already a problem. Why isn't Lex doing what he does in the comics? Lex Luthor doesn't like Superman because he is the ultimate genius. He can't have somebody out there who is doing better than him or is perceived to be better than him. Whereas, and that's what he tries to do. He tries to prove with his intellect that he's better than Superman. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about Lex. He wants to go ahead and he wants to just make where everything's about him. Screw Superman. I'm the one that y'all should be talking about. I'm the hero of the story. Whereas in this one, he's basically, no, Superman's better than me. I don't want to be, I can't have it.
That was a good impression.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. Like if you'd held up me and then Nicholas... His acting is so good, but then
his acting, and he looks way better than you. But keep going. Go ahead.
Hey, if I shave this all off,
he still looks better than you, dude. So stop it.
God
Okay,
damn it.
So come on. He looks better than all of us here. All right, so stop. Okay, so keep going.
But all right, so there's that. I mean, there's, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say, what the hell, dude? When Godzilla came out, they gave it shit because when first fight that Godzilla has, the only thing you get to see of it is on the TV screens. In this one, they don't even do that. They go ahead and they start the movie off with 3 minutes ago, Superman lost his first battle. And nobody saw shit. Nobody gave it. You didn't get any flashbacks of it, which that's what I thought we were going to see. We're going to see like a flashback of, hey, here's him fighting the hammer of wherever the Fuckistan. I'm like, dude, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
This is how you start your movie? Superman's already got his ass kicked. You got like 2 seconds into the film. And then Crypto has to save him? I mean, I like that you have Crypto in the movie, but why is it that Crypto has to be the one to save him? How badly did he lose this fight? That's what I want to see. That's what you could have started with.
Yeah.
This whole thing of the whole conflict that he stopped, that's where you could have started there, where he goes into this other country. He's Superman already, fine. But he goes into this other country, he stops this war, and then all of a sudden, when he gets back to Metropolis, oh, shoot, the chickens have come home to roost. Here comes the hammer of wherever. He's coming to kick my ass because I went there. But where was he when all this was going on? Where's this hammer of wherever? Again, I'm sorry that I keep saying hammer of whatever or whatever. I can't remember the name of the country because it's so inconsequential.
To my point, you're bringing characters that are taking away from his storyline.
Exactly, right.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
definitely a entertaining film. It's, for me, yes, it's a solid 7. There are some really great things in it. I think, even with the Justice Gang, that we can't think of a good name for them. There's some really funny stuff. And again, Mr. Terrific, that whole sequence with him, if that's the best part of your movie, that should be the first thing that tells you, you know what? Maybe we need to rethink this thing. Because that literally is, for me, the best part of that movie is Mr. Terrific just wholesale kicking ass.
Whenever he's on screen,
Yeah, exactly.
Even the show.
Even the little tease at the end with them looking at the building and he's like, what? That to me was like, oh man, that's super entertaining. But how did we feel having to add that to our movie that, wait, Mr. Terrific is doing really well. Let's make sure that we include him even in the end thing.
Yeah.
Where Superman is not the strongest person in the Superman movie. That's the problem.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. And he doesn't even have powers. He's just super smart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How about you, Mark? I'm sorry, Frank. I imagine you got everything off your chest.
No. Like I said, thank you, Adam. A lot of what I felt, you already said.
I'll send this over to you so you can pet it and feel better. Pet the pecs.
You know what? I was looking around and I was like, damn, you know what? I don't have one Superman figure.
I'll lend you mine.
I don't think I have any DC figures, but
all right, Mark.
It's mostly just
What's your take?
My take is when I went in to go see this movie at the theaters, even when it was being promoted, knowing that James Gunn was doing this, the one thing I said is, please don't suck. Please don't suck. And does it suck?
It didn't suck.
I wouldn't say it sucked that bad. I'm just saying there were key moments in it that I knew were going to happen. I knew James Gunn was going to make it a James Gunn movie with all too much humor, and he kind of over humorized it.
Yeah.
Which is a far cry from what he had done years ago from a movie that was based on Superman.
Brightburn.
Exactly. And I know the producer of that movie, and there was such hope for that movie, but it burned out for the fact that was during the time when all the tweets and everything else came to light and they were in damage control. The movie had a hopefulness to it. We're going to get a Dark Justice League or Dark League, actually, because at the end it teased that at the end. But I would have to agree with Adam and Frank. It's like they added all these other characters that took away from Superman. They made him and Lex a little too emo, in my opinion. They're crybabies to certain degrees. That whole intro, like Frank was talking about, that came out of like a Highlander intro. It's like, in the beginning, this is what happened, and blah, blah, blah. And which is so funny because Cavill is now on Highlander. But yeah, I went in with no high hopes, but I can't say I was not entertained. It was very much a popcorn film that entertains everybody who doesn't know the lore of Superman, but are entertained nonetheless. Too much crypto. The music had its moments because they did have Williams' score in there, a version of it.
That was it. Yeah.
And that was it. And I gave this a 6.8. I still stick to that. I can't give it a 7, but I have hopes that they could turn it around in a sense that, if they make more of these films, because obviously we're getting a Supergirl next year.
Yeah.
And that was it was a terrible way to introduce her, coming back because she could get drunk on a red planet.
Sure.
Who dropped her off, by the way, because she obviously can't really fly that way. But and definitely Mr. Terrific did steal the show. That one scene with him and Lois, and then he puts her in a force field and he's going around doing all this, and to the tune, the song that was in the movie, that was amazing. But also, it's so funny too, because that particular actor played Darwin in X-Men First Class, if you all recall. So I think he got his redemption in Hollywood and playing a superhero character that got more physical time on screen and didn't die, and played it very well. And it was a strong character. Guy Goner by Nathan Fillion was always going to be what it was, because that's the character. He just plays a stupid dick.
Exactly.
And I think Gunn was putting too much emphasis into this. He could, honestly, in my opinion, he should have, like what Adam was saying, is just made it just centered around Superman, and then maybe have at the very end a cameo. But we got what we got. And the movie itself has not done well domestically in the theater, and is still in the theaters, but yet is still on digital download now.
It just got into digital download, I think, yesterday or something like that.
No, last week.
Was it last week?
Yeah, I got it
last week. Last week. You're right. Yeah.
And it's still in the theater, but they're just trying to keep it in the theater. And apparently Gunn made that decision of putting it on digital download sooner than later, because usually it takes about 3 to 4 months for it to come out on digital download on basic contracts for movies to come out like 3 or 4 months after it's been in the theaters or out of the theaters at that
From
point.
what I hear, he wanted to get it out because Peacemaker was coming out soon.
Yes.
But again,
Right.
why are you prioritizing Peacemaker over Superman? You have the ability to push Peacemaker out so that Superman can breathe. To me, you're making Superman the character suffer for characters that are not Superman. You did it
that
in
are
your
side
movie.
characters too.
You did it for your show. You even retcon your own show. Because I was actually curious to see. I was like, all right, how is this gonna work? Because I saw Peacemaker, and I actually like Peacemaker. Like, I thought it was a great show.
No,
and I
Peacemaker's
liked the cameos at the end. I'm like, okay, I know he's gonna bring these people back. I was like, is he gonna use? I thought he was gonna use the Flash and all this other stuff, and I'm like, oh, he just literally changed his physical episode, and I'm like, I get it. You don't want to lose that IP because you already built it out, but it was part of the old one, but it needs to be part of the new one. But for us four, we can make it make sense and watch it. But for the general audience that doesn't know this stuff, they're not going to connect the dots. And I think that's the problem. Right. Instead of just doing a very clean slate, like we're just going to start fresh, like start over. We're not going to bring people over. We're not going to change this or change that. It's still very murky, like bringing things over. Missed opportunity to use the Flash movie to connect two universes. That was my opinion. Because then you could have like done that in a form.
Correct.
But again, you know, it's already coming out. I didn't even realize it was going to come out to streaming when I heard about it last week. I'm like, wait, it just came out last month. I'm like, hasn't even been 2 months since it came out. And I'm like, is it doing that bad in the theaters? I mean, again, it's almost at 6. I'm sure it'll hit the 600 million mark at some point.
I think it's like $500 million away from 600.
Yeah.
Worldwide, it's at 599, 545.
5.
Yeah. So a little under. Yeah.
It'll do it, but it's, I don't know. I just again, you know, not a bad movie, not a great movie.
No.
But that is not what I wanted to feel coming out of Superman. Like I really wanted it to be like, okay, cool. Like this is just how we had Christopher Reeves. His version was great. No one's gonna match up to it. Boom. We had Henry Cavill's version. They don't compare. New version. I was like, cool. Let's get the third version of that. And maybe if this movie would have came out before Man of Steel and 2006 Superman never existed, I think this movie probably would be more well received, but that's not the world we live in, and you got to compare them, and it is different. It is very comic-y and very comic accurate, but it felt like a Superman and Friends movie. That's what it felt like. It didn't feel like Superman.
The
okay.
Superman and his amazing friends.
Amazing Friends.
So here's my hot take. So I think I've said this before, and I guess, die on a stake on it. I always think that what is it? Ben Affleck has to me has been the best Batman, right?
Yeah.
So when the movie The Batman was announced, and it was announced that it was going to be what's his name?
Robert
Pattinson.
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
I don't like Robert Pattinson as well. I didn't like him because of the
Twilight
movies
movies,
and stuff like that.
Glittery
And
vampire.
yeah, glittery vampire. I just didn't like it. I was like, Jesus, this is bad. And now they're gonna bring the glittery vampire Batman? Really? So I went into that movie with very low expectations. And
Same.
I came out going, holy crap, I love this movie. It wasn't Ben Affleck doing Batman, but he did a phenomenal job as Batman.
Nice.
And the story,
Don't leave it right there.
Adam. So I know this is not on video, but Adam is just showing us all his DC characters on action figures that he has.
Well,
and
he's got specifically the Batman.
Yeah, and every
And
movie
the
we
Riddler.
every movie that we have actually mentioned, he practically almost has
An action figure for
an
it.
action figure for it, except
He's got
the
Catwoman,
2025.
man. Come on.
So, so I came out of that going, holy crap! Like when I even saw the Batmobile, which looked like a muscle car, I was so upset about that. But when they introduced that car in the movie, it blew my mind that all of a sudden became one of my favorites. I was like, that is the most badass way you can introduce that car, right? So I went into this movie with low expectations too. And I said to myself, well, who knows? Yes, Henry Cavill is my definitive Superman, but maybe this movie is going to do exactly what The Batman did, which is it didn't make me think that, Robert Pattinson is better than Ben Affleck. It just made me think that's a freaking phenomenal movie.
Right.
So
There's
I said,
room
well,
for both.
There's room for both. And I learned that on that day when I left the theater. I said, well, shit, there's room for both. This is fantastic. And same thing with, I think, The Joker, right? The Joker was one of those movies that, while we all think Heath Ledger probably did the best depiction of the Joker, he did his own version of the Joker that you go, holy crap, this is just on another level. Granted, this is not part of that universe, but he did something phenomenal with that. So I went into this movie with low expectations, and part of me hoping, going, well, I hope this is like Batman, the Batman, that I could come out of this going, well, shit, Henry Cavill is my Superman, but this guy did a fantastic job. Well, those low expectations stay that way. And I'll come right off the bat. You guys gave it a 7, 6.8. I gave this thing a 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'll tell you why. One is because exactly what I think what Frank said. The way it starts is, to me, stupid. Right away,
Bullshit.
you defeated. Right away, Superman got defeated. Right, and it's like, dude, stop it. All right. You do that in a second movie, not in a first movie. But that's just my opinion. The second thing is, Crypto was the most annoying character in this whole damn thing. I hated that fucking little dog. I really did. Because while Crypto might work in the super dogs or the super pets or whatever it is, or in comic book or maybe in cartoons, to me, he didn't work here. And it's because they made him so annoying. Like if Crypto was like, hey, yes, I'm an obedient dog. And as a matter of fact, I'm smart enough to know what this guy wants. And I'll do certain things that he, then I could probably appreciate that. But he was just annoying. And just like you, Frank, and Adam, you said the costume looked like he was a cosplayer. And what really got to me about
don't I've seen some cosplays that were amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's some really good cosplays.
But what I'm saying, I know what you're saying, but like,
yeah,
I think there's probably better cosplays than this costume.
Oh, I'm sure there are, but I still think he looked like a cosplayer. Where like, all right, I just bought this.
Not a good cosplayer,
right? Like I just bought this off the shelf, and it doesn't fit me as perfect as I would like it. Because if I would have gone for the small, it would have been way too tight. If I would have gone, medium, it's still a little loose on me, or whatever. But the point of that is that Adam, like you said, he worked out. He looked more imposing when he was in regular clothes. But it was his idea, Corn Sweat's idea, to one, have the trunks, which I hate, and two, for him to look more, silly, because in a real world, Superman does not want, Superman is being admired by these kids and he doesn't want to scare kids away. So he rather look silly in a costume, and I'm like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
If the costume, like Adam just sent over pictures, I don't know if you guys looked at it.
I saw that.
But of if the suit, that same suit was fitting correctly. And I was like, damn, it could have looked like this. Exactly. Yeah. It would have been cool if it looked like that. It doesn't look like that.
It doesn't look like that. So my other take on this was also the fact that Lex Luthor was a child, right? Not only a child, but the scene where everybody, that he is calling out all these different plays reminds me of today's world in video game competitions. That's what it reminds me of. Like, if you ever seen some of these really crazy video game competitions where, like, everybody's playing, probably like, what is it, StarCraft or something like that. And it's like they're on different tiers and people watch it. That's what it reminded me of. And I was like, he's basically a child and playing this like a video game or something like that. And my other take on this is, one is that I don't think James Gunn had the confidence of doing a solo Superman movie because he had to bring in all these characters in there. You don't have the confidence in it when you have to say, well, you know what? Maybe we should have a Green Lantern. Maybe we should have, a Hawk Girl, or Mr. Terrific, or all these other characters in there. And look, don't get me wrong. I think James Gunn, he does his thing very well. Guardians of the Galaxy, one of my favorite movies out there. All three of them are actually some of my most favorite movies. But I think that style of directing and humor goes with characters you have never seen before, because you're reinventing those characters, and they could be that way. The fact that he put so much humor and stupid humor into this made me not like this movie even more. I think the parents of Superman, Bradley Cooper being a fantastic actor and having some fantastic wasted in a movie like this. I think that there were certain little things I liked. So the Fortress of Solitude, the way it came out of the ice, I thought that was a really cool way of doing that. I thought the robots were kind of cool. I still like the aesthetics of the ship from Man of Steel, but this had almost like a retro type of look to it, which I was kind of really, I was okay with. The Caillou was stupid. And it dawned on me, I am watching a live version of a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's when it dawned on me. This is a cartoon that's live version. And so I watched this movie already 3 times. And for a person who doesn't like this movie, to watch it 3 times, because I am really, really trying to see where it is that I'm trying to see what I'm missing. I hear so many people praise this movie. I hear so many people say, hey, this movie brings, so much heart and warmth. And I'm like, I understand where you're going with this, but it's just not being executed very well. Adam, you said that you liked the scene where Superman was being interviewed. I didn't like that scene, and I tell you when I didn't like that scene. So when she said, let me interview you, and he goes, okay, and he sat down, and she started talking, all of a sudden, his voice changed, and he became more imposing and more, okay, this is Superman. And then he started whining because people were going to die. And he whined about it so much that I'm like, this is why I don't like this Superman. Because this is a Superman that just doesn't portray confidence. This is a Superman that just doesn't, like, what I would say, he acts out like a child.
Yeah.
Somebody is still very immature. Granted that, Henry Cavill's Superman, he was just a person that was unsure of what he wanted to become and how the world was going to depict him, but he never came off childish. He never came off, I don't know, like somebody who didn't know what he was doing, even though I'm sure half the time he still didn't know what he was doing because it was all new to him also, but it didn't portray that. Every time he showed himself as Superman, he showed himself as an imposing figure, but not a threatening figure. While Superman just looked like a clown in a suit with powers. And that's what I felt out of this. And I really came out of this theater going, I really was hoping that I was going to get the Batman smack in the face going, wow, right. I'm really surprised. And I wasn't. And like I said, I watched this movie.
It's even worse because they try to sell you that he's been Superman for a while. He doesn't. Cavill has the whole thing of this is new to him. This is the first time he's coming out. Same thing with Superman.
Right.
Superman, when they finally get to where Christopher Reeve is putting on the suit and he's Superman, that's his first time showing up to save people and do all these things, which is why he first saves Lois, and then he goes out and he does other things. He's like, you know what? Shit, I'm out here. I might as well go ahead and earn my money.
Right.
Go ahead and be like, hey, let me get that cat out of the tree. Let me go ahead and leave a boat on the street where everybody can see it. But this is like, hey, this is an established Superman.
Wait, did you just say Henry Cavill did that? Because that was actually Christopher
No.
Reeve.
I'm saying Christopher Reeve. Well, when Christopher Reeve, I said Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
But this one, you're trying to tell me that Superman has been Superman for a while. He's at least 3 months because that's how long they've been dating. And he hasn't had these issues already. He shouldn't have any doubts if you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you should be able to stand there and go, people were going to die. Not people were going to die.
Well, I think that's what makes I think that's the difference between the Cavill and this one version, because in this one, he seems like he's trying to justify his actions, right? While Cavill said it very clearly, you may think you could control me, but you don't. But I'm not your enemy. In other words, hey, I am as powerful as I am, but there's no freaking way that the United States is going to tell me how I should do things and when I should do things. I'm going to do the right thing because I do the right thing. And there is nothing in this world that you could do about that. And I think the military was just like, well, that's kind of true. Because at the end, when he crushed the drone and he says, you're not going to see where I hang my cape. And they're like, well, how do we know that you're not going to turn on? I was like, because I grew up in Kansas. You don't get any more American than that. And
Right.
that was it. He basically told us like, hey, dude, but I'm going to do it on my terms, he said. In this one, it just feels like everybody's expecting him to obey.
Yeah.
And he's trying to be like, yeah, but I want to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And I'm going to turn myself, whatever it is. It just felt more like he's trying to justify what he did, and he's trying to gain acceptance for what he did, compared to what I think Cavill would have done, which is, I don't care if you accept me or not. This is the way it's going to be. Why? Because I'm going to do the right thing, as opposed to you telling me what I should do. But that's how this came off. This came off like he's trying to justify himself, and then he's brooding about it and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the destruction on this movie are almost the same as the Man of Steel movie.
Yep.
Yep. It is
And
true.
yet people were like giving Man of Steel so much shit about that. And it's like, guys, literally the pocket universe was splitting the earth in half and then put it back together. And the destruction it did, and nobody's talking about that. Like, oh, you know, there's so much destruction there. No, there was still a lot of destruction there.
Mm-hmm.
He saves a fucking squirrel. That pissed me off so much. Oh my God, when I saw that.
Oh my God.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And that whole thing with the kaiju and how it was.
Like I said, this was more of, okay. Have you guys seen the show on HBO Max? My thing with Superman or something. It's a cartoon.
Oh, the Superman Adventures with Lois Lane. My Adventures with Superman.
My Adventures with Superman. That's what this reminds me of. This is basically a live version of that. And I like that show.
Yeah.
Right? And it has, I think, the same Superman S, if I'm not mistaken. It looks exactly the same. Yeah. But it was just like, oh, there's the show. You know, I really, really like that show. I thought it was really cool and everything. And that's what this reminded me of. It reminded me that this is just basically a live cartoon. But if this is the way you're going to start this whole DCU,
right,
and then your next movie is going to be what? What is it? Clayface?
Supergirl?
Yeah.
Supergirl and then Clayface?
Yeah, I think that's it.
It's like, dude, if you're going to reboot this the right way. Your next movie should be Batman. Your next movie should be Wonder Woman. All right? Give me something what is the end goal here? This is just, I mean, from what I hear, he just wants to do movies that really are not going to all tie together to something.
Yeah.
Or I could be wrong, you know, and that's fine too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think one of the biggest criticisms of the MCU was that after 10 years, people felt like they had to do homework to see a movie. Yeah. And I think that's what, that was the biggest mistake I think the MCU did was actually go on Disney, what was it? On Disney Plus?
Mm-hmm.
And release all these shows that now, like, let's say, what is it? Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. You don't know what the fuck is going on in there unless you watch WandaVision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, that was the biggest criticism. And I do have to give that to people. It's like, why do I need to do so much homework to do this? I think that's why, Frank, what you said, Fantastic Four, and I enjoy Fantastic Four much better than Superman. Mm-hmm. And it was because of several things. One, I think it was just a really cool take on the characters and the universe itself. But it's the fact that you didn't have to watch any MCU movie to enjoy this. It was his own thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it does tie in at the end to something that's coming later, but it's standalone.
Right. But it's standalone, right? But this was standalone. Hey, you know, boom, done. And I think that was fantastic. This did the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Did you think it was fantastic? Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic 4 times. So,
well, it is the 4th time is right. It's like the 4th time they tried to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you include Roger Corman,
if you include the Corman one, which didn't really release,
wasn't supposed to be released. Yeah. But yeah, so that was my hot take on this, is that no, I did not enjoy this as much as people did. I still enjoyed the other Superman better, you know, Man of Steel. And I was really, really hoping to get something out of this. I thought the soundtrack was just okay, and it's because it was writing off of John Williams' soundtrack. While I think Hans Zimmer did something where it's like, hey, I'm going to try my own thing and let's see if that works, and it worked very well. And and like I said, some of these other characters, I hated Guy Gardner. God damn it, I hated that.
But well, that's Guy Gardner. If you watch but if you go in the comics, that's him.
I know it's him, but I still hated him for this take on in the movie
for a lantern.
Yeah, and then Hawkgirl, I feel like
underutilized.
Scream
underutilized the Scream, and not only that, but look, Hawkgirl is supposed to be a species of humanoid that has real wings. Why is it that you have to hide her wings? She has wings when she's flying, and then when she's walking on the ground, it's like, where the fuck are her wings? You spend so much money in this, just CG the damn wings in there and just leave them there. But no, they took that. So now you're kind of wondering, where the fuck are the wings? Are the wings real? Are they not real? And then the one part, like in the, here's what I give it. Like I said, I did like certain things on it. The Justice League Hall, the Hall of Justice.
Hall of Justice, yeah.
Outside looked fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Then you go inside and you have a bunch of heroes that are just laying around doing nothing. That seems stupid too. She's just there, just like whatever. What's she doing? She was on the phone or something like that.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
looking hot,
looking whatever. But the thing is, like, if you compare that to, like, let's say the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, she was a badass.
Yeah.
But so this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I felt like a lot of these heroes in there were underutilized. Mr. Terrific, like you said, was the highlight of this entire movie. And I enjoyed that part of him. I mean, the biggest part that I enjoyed with him was when the guy was trying to show him something on the computer and he just mushed him in the face and told him, I'm goddamn Mr. Terrific. And I'm like, that is some bold shit to do. And part of me thinks that one day I want to do that with somebody. I'm going to put that in a pocket somewhere and go, I'm going to take this out when I really, really need it. But other than that, that is my take on Superman, 2025. While it was a okay introduction into whatever James Gunn wants to do, we just have to see what else is going to come up. And hopefully, it'll be better. But other than that, my take is that I enjoy Superman. Man of Steel a lot better. And that's my take. I know some of you guys are.
Wait, so let's each give our rating. What's your from the 4 films, from all
including Superman Returns?
Superman
okay.
Yeah, what's your order?
So for me, it would be Man of Steel, possibly Superman Returns, then Superman 1979, and then the 25. That would be my take on that.
Mine will be Man of Steel, 1978 Superman.
Oh, 78. Yeah.
And then Superman Returns, and then 2025.
Okay. Mark?
I'm going to... No, go ahead, Mark.
Well, yeah, I would go definitely Man of Steel. I would probably put Superman Returns and then 78 Superman, and then lastly.
Oh, okay. Same thing as I did. Yeah. And how about you, Frank?
And I already pretty much gave it, but Superman for me, 1978, it's top.
Right.
Man of Steel is next. Superman Returns, and then this one is still this is number 4. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's and it's funny because if you start to put all Superman in there, I would still put the Superman series above 2025. I would put Smallville above 2025.
Talking about the new series or
animated?
The Dean Cain series?
No, the Dean Cain series I would put under 2025. I'm not a big fan of that series.
Yeah. What about the Tyler
I'm talking about Smallville.
The Tyler Hoechlin?
Tyler Hoechlin will probably be right above 2025, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. I was never very keen on him being Superman, especially when there was an episode that came out that how he first became Superman, and he had this really, really campy looking Superman suit, and some kid goes, "Oh, cool!"
But it was comic accurate.
I understand, but he goes, cool suit. And he goes, yeah, my mama made it. My mom made it. And I just felt like, oh God, that is so cringeworthy. You're a grown man telling you that your mom made you a freaking pajama suit.
Superman. Dude.
Yeah. So it was just like,
sense.
I was like, oh, by the way, I didn't get into the fact also that Ma and Pa Kent were the most redneck version of them I have ever seen in 2025. That house looked atrocious. I'm like, where did you grow up, dude? You definitely grew up in one of those farms that was not very, very very well kept. Like I felt like the one in all the other Superman versions was kind of like I felt like the Kents were portrayed a little better, maybe. I don't know. These were just horrible. But that being said, yeah, that's also my take is that 2025 Superman is very, very, very low on the bar. Very low.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it hurt it to not have an origin story in this version.
But you know what? The Batman didn't have an origin story, and that thing was freaking awesome.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it as like, okay, the kids nowadays who
grow up
born after Man of Steel, this is going to be their first introduction, and you're stepping into a universe that he already exists. It's like you don't get to see like how he came from another planet. Like it's almost like enough time has passed where you could do his origin. It's not like it's been like 3 years or 4 years, or at least a flashback.
I'll give it that. But I respectfully disagree on the fact that we needed an origin story because sometimes I think the origin story just gets done over and over and over again.
Yeah,
and sure. I truly believe that a lot of people that come and see this have already seen a Superman movie. I mean, you have to be 2 years old to say I haven't seen the other ones or whatever it is. But that being said, yes, I think a flashback would have been great or something.
Maybe a few less scenes of Bradley Cooper. And a few more scenes of flashback.
Yeah. Or you know what? Okay, you're gonna show me that, but show me a little flashback of Krypton. I would love to know what that version of Krypton is. So I don't know. It's very interesting, but yeah, I think my take. I think these 3 Superman movies were, of course, absolutely important in the Superman in the whole superhero genre. To give us kind of like 3 different versions that they all were successful. They were all different takes on the character and the universe. And some worked, some tried to continue that story and failed miserably. Others tried to continue that story and failed miserably. And let's see if this one continues that story and fails miserably because unfortunately, the 78 one after Superman 2, those movies were just really, really bad. I mean, when you have Richard Pryor in a movie, come on. But then, of course, the Snyder stuff, like you were saying, Adam, there was a plan, but then once he was out of there, everybody went off the rails.
And that plan was Rebel Moon.
Oh my God!
I think that was his Star Wars scrapped story.
That was his. Yeah, I heard that was actually what he was proposing for a Star Wars story.
It was supposed to be Star Wars.
That's what you were going to do. Look, I saw that, and I saw the extended version or the rated R version.
I watched all 3 extended versions,
and I was like, "Dude, stop! What are you doing?" And that's when it dawned on me, Zack Snyder just doesn't make good movies. Because he did, Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Visually beautiful. Dumbass movie. That is just a movie to show off girls in, in little high school uniforms. Shorts. Yeah, in short shorts and stuff like that. Yeah. Very steampunk and stuff like that. But not
Watchmen was good. 300 was good.
Watchmen was good and 300 was freaking phenomenal.
Yeah. I liked Immortals.
Immortals.
Yeah, Immortals is actually pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, that was him too. Yeah.
And
then didn't he do that Owl CGI movie?
The Owls of Ga'Hoole?
Wasn't there like
Guardians of Ga'Hoole?
Yeah, something. It was like some animated.
I don't know about that, but I don't know. But after that, let's be honest. That's
a good movie.
So I would say after that, he just hasn't had something because he did that movie with the zombies. That was a streaming one that came out.
Army of the Dead, and
yeah,
no, but that did pretty good. I actually.
It was
like
good.
One,
It was entertaining, but not. It didn't blow my socks off. And then, of course, Rebel Moon. It was like I was picturing that whole story as a Star Wars story, and I'm like, wow.
It doesn't work as any kind of story.
It doesn't work right, exactly, man. And I think maybe it's more. I mean, not only the visual styles. I think it was very 300, but I don't think.
No, that's an insult to 300. I wouldn't even compare.
No, but it had a lot of the visual styles and a lot of the cues that he did in 300.
I think that's just his directing style.
You mean the slow motion farming? Yes.
No, but it's all
very 300.
No, it was just also the. I think it's the color palette almost seemed the same, and like the graininess and some of there were just certain things, but I think while he had some great actors in there. They're
wasted.
They were wasted. That's what I was saying. Because Anthony Hopkins as the robot, he was my favorite character out of all of those. And that was also underutilized. I thought he was going to be like probably the star of this whole thing. And I was like, that, and he stood out to me the most. And I was like, nope, still underutilized. Yeah. So, but yeah, Zack Snyder
has the Mr. Terrific of the series. Got it.
Correct.
Yeah.
of a very bad movie. Yeah. So
he's the Mr. Okay.
Mr. Okay. The Mr. Average.
But no, he, like I said, the design of that character, and of course Anthony Hopkins has just this great voice. It doesn't matter what he does.
Right.
You know, that even when he did that, I was just like, wow, like he comes off awesome. And then the rest of the movie just tanked. But yeah, no. So, but that's my take on these three movies. That's our take on these three movies. Do you guys have anything else you want to close with?
Not really.
Yeah, I'm good.
It is what it is.
Yep.
It's like if it was a better movie, you could talk more about it. But
yeah,
interesting enough. I feel like we talked more about Man of Steel.
Yeah,
than we did this
movie. For sure.
Than all the other movies. And I think, again, it's because of the passion that we have for it. And I think it's also how much we see in that in the real world compared to like James Gunn's cartoony world, where it's just like, I just don't see any of that.
Yeah.
I
would have been okay with a movie where the only time you see the Justice Gang is kind of like when he was talking to Lois and they're outside doing the fighting in the background. And he's like, they've got that.
That or the fact that they maybe come in at the end.
Yeah.
At the very end.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And instead of Guy Gardner, it probably would have been like who's the
Hal Jordan?
Hal Jordan. No, not Hal Jordan. The black guy.
John
Stewart.
John Stewart
Yeah,
would have
John
been
Stewart.
a better lantern to put
I
in,
think John Stewart would have been awesome to have in there. I think a better Hawk Girl or portray her a little better. And who else was in there?
Metamorpho
should have, like you said, I think should have been CG or something. Or
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he practically was in some spots, but
or not even bring him in yet. I just think that would be too much. I just say, hey, you bring in the Justice League at the very end, very end.
Gang.
Yeah. It could have been worse. They could have brought in the Wonder Twins.
He literally had a pocket universe of villains that he could use, but he wants to.
Exactly.
But he didn't. Again, putting a pocket universe in a first Superman movie is just too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But and then I don't know. Whatever. That's going to start the podcast all over again.
No.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. All right. Well, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
But yeah, well, if you guys have thoughts, all you listeners, all you have to do is send some feedback, and we'll discuss it the next time we're on. Probably by the time you start sending your feedback, will be when we're recording Peacemaker.
Yeah. And I will say this. Send me your feedback. Tell me why you think Man of Steel was not the best Superman. I dare you. I double dare you.
Double dare you.
Tell me why these pecs are not what you want on the big screen.
All right. So with that, you could easily send in some feedback. We didn't post this as a way for you guys to send in feedback before because it was kind of like we weren't sure when we were going to record. But go to our Facebook group, facebook.com/panels to pixels. You can email us as well, panelstopixels1@gmail.com. That's panels, 2 spelled out TO, pixels and the number 1 at Gmail. What's on Facebook is on Instagram, so easily just do that at Panels to Pixels Podcast on Instagram. We've found on YouTube. You could get feedback through that way as well. All you have to do is search Panels to Pixels Podcast, subscribe, give a thumbs up, and do all that. Ring the bell to be notified if you prefer to listen to it that way. We also do get messages and comments through Spotify. So if Spotify is a way that you listen, do that as well. I get notified all the time. But as I already mentioned, we will be covering Peacemaker, and the episode has dropped, and we all gave a watch, but we'll cover it at a later point. But yeah, other than that, that is our show, so our podcast. So I just want to thank everybody for listening. I'm Mark.
I am Rob.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Adam.
Rob, being Rob is such a burden.
Same podcast, different panel, different pixel. This was Panels to Pixels podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next panel.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.